Spasi. Thank you so much for joining us on this occasion. I think this is not just a cover shoot, this is more, just by the virtue of who you are and what you've done for this industry. I know for sure that I wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for women such as yourself. And I think it's quite an incredible thing that we have a book in you now that highlights a lot of your journey, personal and professional. And having read it, it's such a huge eye-opener into many of the realities. I like to call them small realities that make up the whole. So a lot of people see the big whole, they see the glamour, the 10 years on top billing, you know, the Miss South Africa, all of those things. But a lot of them don't know the little realities that go behind creating the big whole. And to have something in a book that is really the type of read that you have to sit and finish in one sitting because you can't put it down, I think is such a blessing and such a teaching to so many people in this industry who want to come into it and need a glimpse into the reality of it. So thank you for that. Thank you for this book.
Thank you
for that purpose.
For receiving the book from the spirit in which it was intended. And thank you to your generation who, having watched a bit of my journey, because but have taken just a page or a glimmer of hope on what is possible.
Yeah.
What a face of hope looks like. And so thank you for that gracious opening and really a statement of affirmation. You know, as a mom, as a 45-year-old woman, every day I ask myself, am I living my life purpose? And you've just affirmed and confirmed that indeed every single day I show up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I live my truth and my life purpose as a teacher.
And I think one person who did definitely show up was your mother. It's quite interesting that you're saying you show up as a teacher because, you know, that's what you studied. But one person who certainly showed up was your mother. Her soul is the foundation of this book, I think. And I was so impressed by everything she did. As far as I'm concerned, your mom is the original Christiana, you know.
Ooh, girl.
She really is.
Hey now.
Do you understand? She really did so much, I think, for you and your siblings in terms of doing what she could with what she had to try and create something more for you guys. Did that kind of give you your first idea or indication of what hope is? So is her mothering really what defined hope for you?
I was raised by a formidable matriarch. And even as a child, I was very conscious of who this woman is and what she represents. And I understood her struggles because my mother used to share with us the challenges of, you know, when they were forcefully removed, Esofaya down, Udadom Kulu, who was running a printing business, and even her struggles to conceive us. And so she had us late in her life. So I was raised by somebody who represented all that I could possibly become. A tangible life coach that just worked so hard. I'm just thinking about how my mother often used to say, I would rather go with nothing so that you all can have. My mom was of very little means. She didn't covet the things of the world. She often used to say, overall, nephaqaphaqa nepush-in baninxibe abantu abangecawe bebahle. And so in so many ways, I lived with hope in how she even changed the course of our lives as her children and the trajectory of our journey. And so Unamazizi, may her soul rest in peace, really gave me that sense. Because if you think about the word hope, for me it stands for hold on, pain ends. So when the going got tough, even when their marriage and their relationship with my dad was challenged, my mother just never quit, she never gave up. And so that's all that I know. That's the only frame of reference that I have. Winning Miss South Africa in 1994, at a very critical time in our history, new government, new leadership, the rainbow people of Umadiba, and then I get to wear this crown at that very critical. I couldn't have scripted it better myself if I had tried to. And in understanding the time of my winning and where the country was at and where the country was going and the hope that resided in us, that sense of optimism that we had in 1994. I understood, first of all, that this is a moment in time. I've got the crown on my head. But what was important was what I was going to do with my life post the 12 months. Not, let alone just with it, that it was only a reign for a year. You cannot be crowned Miss South Africa 1994 and not understand the responsibility of it as a young person, that young people are looking up to, that I too can. So I could not squander the opportunity, take it for granted, misuse it, and have delusions of grandeur that it's about me.
It was about a lot more.
It was about the collective. I come from a generation, even in beauty pageant days, when you won a Miss Soweto, it wasn't a Makhalimele daughter won Miss Soweto.
Because we won it.
We
won
won
it. The community.
So Miss South Africa, we won Miss South Africa, not Basetsana Makhalimele. What was critical was how I was going to use this platform, this opportunity, this exposure to live a dream realized. To earn my place at the table, to have the manor house. So it was a very conscious understanding of what that moment, that hour, that season represented and meant. And to be conscious in every single decision that I made from the 24th of September in 1994, that that's going to define my future. That's going to define the woman that I become and in the choices that I was going to make around that. So it was an invitation to dream big, to be audacious, to be courageous in pursuit of those dreams, and to not be afraid to fail in the process. I was a 20-year-old.
And I like what you're saying about not being afraid, because the way you're explaining it now makes it sound to me like it was an invitation to the manor house, but as you got in, it was like, do not be afraid to take your seat at the table. You know, do not be afraid to take your seat at the table and have a seat, you know, lest you end up on the menu, you know.
Honey, it was also being conscious that if nobody's going to invite me to the table, I was going to pull up a chair for me and take my seat at the table, unapologetically. Unreservedly.
And I love the way you say it in here, because you say it like it is rather unapologetic. I mean, you say so much more was possible for someone like me. In fact, anything was now possible for a little black girl who believed in herself. I had journeyed from the sandwich assembly line in my mom's kitchen to a place where my dreams and aspirations actually mattered and were being realized. in the first 20 years of my life, I had gone from being totally disadvantaged to literally standing in the biggest spotlight possible. It's incredible. I mean, you go on about how you kind of were, you know, a lot of firsts you ticked off. For one thing, I was the first black female host of a show that was being watched predominantly by white viewers, you know, Top Billing. I was the first Miss South Africa to become a television host, thanks to Doreen Morris, and many others subsequently followed that path. A lot of them, in fact, some joined Top Billing and Pasela, which Swelabilla Productions has produced for the last 17 years.
To hear that I tick the boxes of firsts, it wasn't saying this was I was going to do, I'm going to tick boxes. But what I knew that I had to do is to show up.
Absolutely.
For life, to show up for the choices that I make and to own them. I had to grow up very quickly. 20-year-olds were clubbing and dancing through the night. I became an ambassador
a production company.
Of a new nation. I started a production company.
Yeah.
I had to sell my car to put in collateral, to fund
Yeah.
it. So I was making different choices than my peers.
Yeah.
And those choices have brought me here today, to have written about this journey.
And I love that you frame it like that, because those choices for me, they're really surrounded by this word called opportunity. You are given the opportunity, or you earn the opportunity of being in South Africa rather. Then you are in the opportunity of creating more opportunities for yourself within that, and then later for others. Viola Davis says that opportunity is the thing that separates women of color from everybody else. And that notion of creating the opportunities for others by, you know, creating this production company.
You know, television is a powerful tool. So little did I know at the time that
what it could do.
The birth of Swelapile Productions was going to create a movement where young people could see themselves, not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera.
Behind the camera, yeah.
And change lives.
Yeah.
And inspire and entertain and educate.
And I think you hit quite an important word when you said aspirational, because that's certainly the movement that I think Top Billing really was. I think before any other magazines did it, it really positioned this idea of what an aspirational lifestyle was. So, you know, I think my question with regards, especially to Top Billing, is because it's such a like an anchor in the history of production in this country. What do you think it contributed really to the quality and the value of production in this country? What do you really think that show contributed? Because everyone knows the walking link. Good evening and welcome to Top Billing.
Hey now.
You know, and every time you walk into someone's beautiful house, you're just like, wow, so Top Billing. You know, what do you think? What's the value that it created to the production in this, to the television industry in this country?
You know, Anke, I think it contributed to excellence, to doing things unconventionally, to breaking the mold, to as an iconic lifestyle show. For the last 25 years, I think Top Billing, even to black people, that, I can aspire to be an architect. I have different career options. I can be a landscape artist. Because where we come from, you were either going to be a nurse or doctor or a teacher or a bus driver or a policeman. And so I think it also opened a whole universe. Not only to individuals, to South Africans, but even in the quality of production that we as South Africans can be able to produce and export. Because oftentimes we think we're not good enough in production. We think that, the West is better than what we do, or they do it better than we can. And Top Billing said, no.
Yeah.
We can be able to produce quality that the world can be able to then take from us and learn from our learnings.
Absolutely.
And I just think, when I see the many young people who, have been writing now that we decided to, end the show with the SABC. And it was also by the way, because the media also just wanted to sensationalize it.
Of course,
that
yeah.
SABC
There was something wrong
dumps
and this and
top
that,
billing or
yeah.
something like that. But after 25 years, I think that it had done its job.
Yeah.
It had changed the narrative about production, about excellence, about just pioneering, I think. I think we were ahead of our time.
Yeah.
And to have passed on the baton and to seeing productions that are coming now, subsequently to the learnings of the University of Top Billing, for me, it's been meaningful.
Did you ever think it would get this far? From that sandwich line in your mother's kitchen to literally recreating the way in which people consume content?
Not in
Isn't
my
that
wildest
crazy?
dreams. It is so crazy. Not in my wildest dreams.
Sure. That is
From
crazy
being
to
put
me.
on that bucket so I could be sink height
Yeah,
in the
'cause you were
family assembly
short.
line, that I would have the greatest privilege to create unique content, going to different genres, create multiple viewing experiences on a Sunday, create Black Twitter.
Own it, honey. Create. Yes, honey.
Let's just like put it out there. So we deal with it and then it's dealt with decisively. Little did I know that when I went into the reality space,
It would blow up to that extent.
yeah.
And then you're right, you're very right. There is a multiplicity in that because top billing was aspirational and, you know, you're in this type of house in Houghton and, you know. So the assumption would be, you know, reality TV, black weddings, dating, how? You know, but,
Emotainment, utatako, who you are, baby?
you know.
Please step in. I need you to help me intervene. I have a family crisis. And so to be able to cut across doing entertainment reality to emo reality. I'm going into scripted now, which I'm very excited about. So to have seen how one over the last 25 years has been able to diversify content consumption and creation, but also just impact how people view themselves.
Absolutely.
You know, with OPW, for example, our people want to see themselves on television and the celebration of love. Not everybody can have a top billing wedding, but
And nothing is more relatable than seeing yourself.
Precisely. And God has got such a funny sense of humor because He's given me television and media and broadcasting as my bigger classroom. And so the teacher in me will always present herself, but it's up to the pupil to show up for the lesson.
Absolutely.
So in understanding that and my calling, and you know, God willing, I have another 45 years that I can continue to show up in my truth. And in doing so, I then will illuminate others to then show up for their own truth and their own gifting and their own calling.
Yes.
So the future of television, reality is here to stay for a while. Reality TV, and we need to begin to tell our own stories so authentically and unafraid. And that's what I want to inspire, to see production companies do, young people do. And also we need to reflect on our history because I'm not seeing a lot of those stories being told, coming through, because our millennials, they don't necessarily have the context
Of the type of South Africa you grew up in. For
correct.
example.
And so I want to see more of those stories being told in a refreshing, beautifully shot, but educating at the same time. So I look forward to seeing that content coming up from your generation. I want Ebuntle Morena, when she watches television, she understands where she comes from, because only when we do understand where we come from, then we have a good sense of where we're going and where we need to go decisively. So I'm very excited about the future of television and broadcasting and content, because also, I mean, gone are the days of linear viewing where you have appointment time, it's 8 o'clock, I'm going to go and watch a soapy.
Yes.
So with the advent of Netflix, Showmax, we need to start creating content that is going to live on those platforms as South Africans, as broadcasters. So that excites me very much in terms of, you know, this journey, this chosen path as a content specialist.
Yeah. You proud of the woman that you see today?
I like her a lot.
Yeah.
I like the choices she has made.
Yeah.
I like how she lives her life. I like so many things about this woman that sits in front of you today. And I think I've done my parents proud. I think I've done my children proud.
Yeah.
I think I've done South Africans proud. I think I've done women proud. I think I've done the girl child proud. And if I had to do it all over again and go through everything that I have, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't take away from the pain and the hurt and the despair and the depression, the hypocritical friendships that I had espoused and thought that we were of the same yoke. I wouldn't take away anything from the good, the bad, and the ugly of my last 45 years, because it's made this woman that sits with you, this whole being, very flawed, imperfect in her perfections, and perfect in her imperfections.
Absolutely.
That's who she is.
And we're so grateful for who she is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless. Thank you.